find friends, we clutch our pearls and laugh again. We all gather around, Kathy has a story to tell, our favorite comedian. Heifer, please, I don't have the free time unless you got the scoop again. Here for the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I will live for today until the endless heaven buffet takes me away.
Hey, 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 good people. How are you? I hope the Endless Heaven Buffet has not taken you away. It's me, Kathy from Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo, and Paul reporting live from his sofa. Hey, Paul, hey.
Hey. I'm just over here singing like the heifer what? I love the little flute part too in your song when it comes on with that. I
You
love
know,
that. He does such a good job with those.
he just slow-mo. Slow-mo. I
I
was
call
going
him
to say
slow-mo.
shlomo.
Shlomo.
I live in North Jersey. There's shlomo everywhere over here, but it's not shlomo. It's slow-mo. But yeah,
Slow-mo.
I was not sure that I would enjoy a song. I was like, I don't know. I sort of drug my feet on it, but now I kind of love it.
Oh, it's totally cute. It's very catchy. I like that little flute part and I like the heifer part. I like the whole thing, but it's like, yeah. And you did the perfect little chunk right there for your little intro thing or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. I like it.
Thank you. Thank
Got
you.
me
I played
dancing
for
over
my,
here.
right? I was like, ooh, a calypso beat. For my outro, it plays the whole song and then not Spike, the little dog that I've sort of adopted,
Okay.
is walking away at the end with me going, bye, not Spike, as he just like wanders up the street.
Are you gonna play it when we're done here?
Hmm.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah, when
cute.
we're done, I'll play it. So, Tylenol murders, where were you when you first heard of this case? You had to have been a wee little gossip back then. Where were you? How old were wait, what
I was born in
1980?
77. 77, I was born.
Okay. So you were old enough to know what was going on when this was happening, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I have like that vague, that blurry memory of it, if you will, of like I can remember that. What I equated
Yeah.
to more is they did a movie back then, and I don't know what channel it was back then that did like I equate them to like Lifetime movies now. You know how they're like kind of cheesy, almost like after school special. Was this
Yes.
movie where this
Yes.
dude was going to the grocery store and he had a syringe of poison and he was putting it in meat, like or whatever, and it was like
Oh
people
my
would go
God.
home and like eat, like cook a hamburger and die immediately. So it was like this take on that. But then when you think about it, I'm like, people could totally, I bet that's been done, right? Because I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
vaguely remember that as like a little kid or whatever. But that's why when I saw it mixed in with the mushroom stuff, because I was just like, it's like she's trying to pull off the Tylenol murders, whatever. And then this comes out, and
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I've got to watch this again and get refreshed on it. I had no idea the whole plot twist things of all these other people involved, like at all.
Neither did I.
None.
Neither did I. I remember very vividly, I think it was Ronald Reagan who was on the TV talking about like we will all stand together as Americans, blah, blah, blah. Because I was born in 1970. And so this was, I'm like 10 years old when this was in the 80s, right?
I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it was like sometime in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember it because I remember my mother saying like, oh, we have to look and see if we have Tylenol. But it was definitely not a hair on fire situation because in the 80s, I was living in Indianapolis and this was happening way, way far away in Chicago, 4 hours away, but far enough to be like, that don't affect us. What's that have to do with us?
Right,
Let me
right.
Google it. What year were the TYL?
One of the things that was interesting to me about it was when the cops were going through the street and doing the like
Mm-hmm.
loud horn, like throw out your Tylenol. And I was just like,
Right.
wow, to get immediate messages out back then without social media. I mean, like to me, that really spoke to the level of emergency of it, of like, we're going through the streets,
Yeah.
we're going door to door, throw your Tylenol away type situation.
Yeah, 1982, September 1982. So I would have been 12 years old back then. That's old enough to go and take my own Tylenol if I have a headache,
Oh, yeah. I
you
mean, can you
know?
imagine being at home? Like, especially the one family who 3 people died. I mean, because just think about,
Crazy.
you didn't it's like you just go pop a couple or whatever. Now, so let's go ahead and, like, get this, pardon me, part out or whatever. So what do you think as far as who did it? Do you think it was the company cover up, or do you think do you think it was a lone wolf kind of person who went and poisoned them, or do you think it was the company that did it, or both?
I don't know. That's the thing that's so crazy. Look, I like the one boogeyman theory. I don't know that there's like grounds to back that up, but I love the idea that it's like one terrible guy did terrible things and we know who he is. Like that gives me like mentally that helps me feel better. Realistically, I suspect it was probably the company, because the company was like, we net McNeil, I think the name of it was, the who made the product for Johnson and Johnson. They were like, we don't have cyanide anywhere in our plant. That would never happen. Except for we do kind of have a little bit over here, and it's kept only 500 feet from like the raw
Yeah.
ingredient. So I could see where, like, yeah, of course they screwed it up. And a lot of people, probably, I would suspect a lot more than 7 people were poisoned. But if you remember when the first person passed away, they were like, oh, he had it was like natural causes or whatever. It was only when 2 more people in that same family died in a very short time period that they went, wait a minute, what's going on here? It's crazy.
When, like you just said, so imagine how many people maybe were already having a health issue, something, maybe an elderly person living at home, something where they take it, they die in their sleep.
Yep.
What they find them, oh gosh, finally, time took its toll, whatever, right?
Right,
I
right.
think, yeah, you know what I mean? And so there's no telling. And then two, the part where they're like, when they destroyed all of the evidence, basically, there was no way to know how many were
Right.
done.
Right.
I think so. There's 2 versions of it where I was like, huh. So first of all, I was like this. I was like, why do we have cyanide in the process of Tylenol number one? Why is this even a thing, right? Like,
Crazy.
I don't get that part, but I'm sure there's a scientific reason. But I was like, okay, so now we're on the page of we do have cyanide already. But
Mhm.
then,
Mhm.
like what you're talking about, like, so yes, for me too, I'm like, okay, I want to think that it was a madman or whatever the case is, right? Because I can
Right, right.
compartmentalize that. I really do wonder if, because think about this, say you got some worker there and who knows what their process was beforehand. And that worker's
Mhm.
like, you know what? I only got one break today. They're talking about they're talking about cutting my overtime. I show them, kind of a thing.
It's
Or,
wild.
and they go and just
It's
contaminate
wild.
some big part of, a batch or however it works or whatever. When the second round happened, after they had been
Yes.
doing the seal stuff, that's where I was
Yeah.
like, okay, look, again, blows my mind because anybody could have gone to a store and popped those capsules the first time, fill them up with
Mhm.
cyanide, whatever, right?
Mhm.
Then the second time I was like, okay, we got some explaining to do, people. So I
Yeah.
almost wonder if it's a little bit of both. Like, what if the first time it was some crazy person at the store, and the second
Yep.
time you got the look, I didn't get my second smoke break. We're getting ready to smoke this place, right? Some people are gonna learn a lesson. That kind of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
disgruntled situation.
And more than that, I feel like I think the first round of poisonings happened. For those who don't know, we're talking about the Netflix documentary, The Tylenol Murders. And so, one guy drops dead and they're like, oh, this is terrible. And then his family members come to the funeral. And then 2 more people who were just sort of like visiting the family also drop dead. And the same police officer was like, wait, what do all these people have in common? And then all these other people died, right? So I'm like, okay, to me, that sounded like a lone wolf. And Tylenol pulls everything from the shelves and they do all this triple sealing and everything is sealed extra tight. And then I don't know how many years go by. And then another lady who had used Tylenol that had been in an absolutely sealed package died. And they were like, well, wait, now we know it's probably from the factory. I don't even think it was necessarily nefarious. I have coworkers. Everybody has coworkers. There's always that one sloppy coworker who doesn't wipe up the whatever or who double dips the thing. You know what I mean? I think it could
100%.
probably have been something, just a sloppy, somebody sloppy in the factory at the McNeil factory. And Tylenol had to save face because this was their biggest selling drug. Johnson and Johnson was making, raking in loads of dough, hand over fist. And they're like, oh no, if we position ourselves like we're a victim of some crazed madman, then we can stand on the side of like, oh, we too are victims just like the public. And they go to the White House and get the Presidential Medal of Freedom and look sad. So saves their bacon.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that part that you just said too about it could have just been a sloppy worker. Because again, if
Yeah.
cyanide's in the process, and what if somebody was just like, okay, well, today's batch is done, and then like, oh, wait a minute. Instead of the Tylenol, I grabbed the cyanide. Oh my gosh, what do I do?
Which
I'm just
scooper?
gonna go
Which
home.
scooper was this?
Yeah,
Right,
which has
right.
it? I don't want to get in trouble. I'll just send it out. It'll be okay.
It's
You know.
crazy. It's so funny because I wonder if they had saved any of those samples, right? Because they were like, we have brought in a specialty company that's going to destroy everything. Everybody bring back your Tylenol and we will destroy all of it. We'll destroy everything in our factories. Had they saved a sample, these days they would have been able to like track the DNA of the whatever to figure out what strain it came from. So it's like, mm-mm. And because the raw ingredients to make Tylenol came from someplace, right? Who knows where they came from? Maybe like the white powder or the capsules or the whatever. There was a plant in, I want to say Texas, and one in Philadelphia, one in Pennsylvania, and there was poison that came out of both plants, which to my mind says whoever made the raw ingredients before they got to those two plants, the mess up might have been there before the product even arrived at the plants. Who knows?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and like you said, if it was like a mess up like that, they're not gonna come out talking about, hey y'all, look, it's our bad. Yeah, we
Oops.
accidentally put the cyanide in there. Sorry. So
Right.
yeah, there's no, especially the second time, forget it, please, right? Because then they would look
Yep.
at the first. So let's talk about James Lewis then, because here's my thought process on
Oh,
him. First of
yes.
all, he's got a real big pair on him to sit here and be like, hmm. So I do not think that James did it per se. I don't think he was the craze.
Agreed.
I think he had some issues. He had stuff going on. But I
I think
think
he
what
killed
he
somebody.
saw,
I don't think he used Tylenol to do it. Like,
100%, like I'm like, no, he was way more whatever. Like he didn't have a problem. Like we're talking dismemberment. He's not gonna go the poison route, right? He doesn't have a problem killing.
Right.
I think that it was like an opportunity because I do think he was bitter about his daughter. Again, who
Yep.
wouldn't be, right? Like,
Right.
regardless of
Right.
it was an accident or this, that, whatever, your child, it gives me goosebumps, your child has died because of health and medical situation, right? So,
Hmm.
got it. But it was almost like you know what? I'm going to show them. And almost like,
Right.
I want to take credit for it because I want people to think that I'm that big and bad and evil in this,
Yes.
but I won't get in trouble. Like, I mean, I don't know the thought process to it, right? But it's like, I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like he didn't do it.
They didn't have the goods on him. Like there was circumstantial evidence, like maybe he did this thing, maybe he did that thing. Yes, he was a weird guy. He was a deeply weird guy. He marries this lady. They have a child with Down syndrome. And that's like, okay, particularly back in, 82, whatever. I don't know, how good the surgeries were, how good the care was that this child got at the hospital, but whatever happened with the surgery, they fixed her heart and then it was not fixed anymore for whatever reason. Obviously, it's devastating to lose a child. Had he not lost a child, I feel like he's the kind of dude who would be out here murking people anyway. He would just be like, that person stepped on my grass. Like he um killed a neighbor and then was just like, well, we'll see how long it takes somebody to find this guy. And I was like, can
But the
we? You're
way
like, oh, wink 'em, blink 'em, and nod. Like, get this dude over here. And how did his wife not divorce him?
oh, 100%. Well,
for the
all
life
that
of me.
drama too with her and the dude she worked for. Because remember, there was like that whole thing where wherever she was working, and that was part of
Yes.
his like getting back or whatever it was scheme they hatched or
Yes.
whatever. So
Yes.
she was a little bit grimy too on some level.
Unbelievable.
So pardon me. The neighbor thing was well, first of all, how do you keep getting away with all this stuff? Right? Like you never hear about somebody getting away with murder because it's like, well, the cops forgot to read them their Miranda rights. So well, they went and walked. I'm just like, what? Like it was so obvious he killed them.
Crazy. For people who didn't watch the documentary, what was the guy's name? I keep wanting to say his last name. Lewis.
Yeah.
Had a daughter with Down syndrome who would sit in the window of his accounting business, his tax business, and just wave and say hello to the neighbors. A neighbor used to walk by all the time and would wave back at the daughter. He got to be friendly with this neighbor. He ultimately started doing the neighbor's taxes. And then when the daughter died, that same guy would come in and be, oh, your daughter, she was wonderful, whatever. They'd talk about this little kid. And then before you know it, it's like this neighbor is like, I'm doing your taxes. We're pals, whatever. There was some sort of disagreement. And Mr. Lewis unfortunately unalived his neighbor and disassembled him and cut him into pieces and stashed him in the attic and then just sat and watched the man's house. And when people would go by, he was like, no, I put a note on the door. He's busy. He's out of town. He's not here. Sir, you are not normal. And then when the Tylenol scandal broke out, he was like, well, my neighbor and I've gotten away with it. That worked out real nice. This is what I'm going to do. Some company has upset my wife, so I'm going to write a ransom letter, pay me $1 million, or, the poisonings continue, and I'm going to sign it or put the return address of this person who did my wife wrong, because that's a normal thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be a troll on the internet if he were still alive, but
100%. And I think he did some like weird stuff too, as he got like into his older years or whatever and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, like, so just in general, like with the, what do you call it? With the Netflix documentary spins and whatnot. So Netflix, to me, especially, I mean, all of them, but especially Netflix, they have this whole thing where it's like, pardon me, and I get it because it makes it more interesting, but almost like creating doubt for something where it's like, okay, was it this?
For sure.
Was it that? Or was it this? Or whatever, right? And very quickly, the dude also reminded me, and I think it was called The Jinx. Do you remember that one? Robert, I can't remember his whole name.
Yes.
He reminded me of
used to
that
say bye-bye. What Chat will tell us. Chat knows all. But I know exactly who you're talking about. The guy from The Jinx. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he like went and like he lived as a mute woman and he killed the neighbor and he kept getting away with it. Right? It was just crazy.
I know somebody who used to work for that guy. Don't even get me started.
I mean, you know it all. You just know everybody. That's so crazy. Oh my God.
No idea. But that guy, yeah. Robert Durst.
Thank you. Yeah. Yep. That's wild.
Yeah, he was a New York guy. That's how, like, I know somebody who worked for him in New York, and she was just like, he was older, he was sickly, he was sort of just like quiet into himself, but very odd.
Really?
I'm like, that tracks, but polite, apparently.
Yeah.
I was like, right, don't make him mad. Yeah. You don't want to make him mad.
Oh no. Yeah, so the Tylenol murders, I just felt like, as one level, it was interesting to revisit the story. And it almost too was like in that way of like, okay, I don't know if you've ever seen this I don't even know what it was, a docuseries, where, do you remember the first case at McDonald's where the lady spilled hot coffee on her lap and it melted her lap, but it was completely spun is like a frivolous lawsuit and all this. Well, then when they actually years later were like, here's what happened. And it was like the coffee was like boiled, like some crazy temperature.
Like 3rd degree burns, took her skin off. Yeah. Crazy
hot. And then you were like,
and now it's sort of like a joke.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now it's a joke because like coffee says, contents may be hot. Or if you buy like a pack of peanuts, it says caution, this package of peanuts contains peanuts. Sort of all of those kind of warnings, which seem ridiculous. But there's some like crazy story behind it. And
Well,
usually some sort of lawsuit behind it.
oh, 100%. So for me, I'm like this. I'm like, pardon me. I'm 100% good with stuff like Tylenol having seals on it, multiple seals,
Hmm.
tricky, open up, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like how it's like push and turn or whatever. Um,
Right.
I 100% good with this. Sign me up all day long. Because again, just when you sit here and think back to, like I was talking about the hamburger thing, where I'm like, oh gosh,
Hmm.
there's this movie or whatever. It's wild. You think that, oh, nobody would ever do that. But then you just sit here and it's like, look at where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, people would totally do
Yeah.
that or whatever. So I feel like, oh yeah, McDonald's, I think, yeah, McDonald's. Oh yeah, McDonald's made like an example out of that woman. The
Yep.
switching back to the coffee in the lap thing, 100%.
Yep.
They smeared her name. They did all this crazy stuff. And once I saw the docuseries on that, I was like, give her as much money as she wants, right? I was like,
Absolutely.
this is crazy.
Absolutely. It was nuts. But it's sort of like it's one of these things where I think corporations want to position themselves as like, not us, please don't mess with our money. Please don't mess with our money. You know what I mean? And I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
a conspiracy theorist until I am. Anytime I hear somebody say like, oh, whatever conspiracy theory, I'm like, that's ridiculous. But the conspiracies that I believe in are very, very real. My husband has all these conspiracy theories, and I'm like, okay, baby, whatever. But
Yeah.
I can't even think of any that I believe right now because, like, I'll hear one and I'm like, that's absolutely utterly false. Or like, what is it? The deep state, like all sort of things like that. I'm like, that's utterly ridiculous. The government knows what they're doing. And then, I mean, I think I've told this story on here before about my uncle dying of anthrax poisoning. And I was like, the government has no idea what they're doing. Y'all, we're all lost.
I mean, that's the thing. So it's like with stuff like, a company coming out and saving face and
Yeah.
gaslighting, like let's pretend like we had a crystal ball and we could be like, oh yeah, James Lewis didn't do it, or that other
Right.
guy who got in the mix where they were like, there's some people that think that this person 100% did it, whatever. Um,
Right.
that's why it's completely in the realm of things to be like, oh, please, yeah, a company, if they could sit here and gaslight somebody, because they do all the time, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's
So,
funny though? Even like where there's stories about like corporate espionage and stuff like that. I'm like, tell me every single thing. I want to know every single thing. This
oh,
company was trying to steal secrets from that company and they did this tricky thing to do it. I love a good spy movie, all of it. I want to know all of it.
100%. Now,
Wait,
JoJo
Dance
just
Time
said,
Diva
hey,
says, I'm going to watch this documentary tonight after work. It's a good documentary. It's a good documentary. Wait, I
yeah,
missed JoJo's. What did she say?
JoJo said, I missed it up here, but it was something to the effect of, I eat Haagen-Dazs because it's lick proof. Remember when the kids were going, yeah, there you go. Turns out it's lick proof.
This is why I buy Haagen-Dazs. It's lick proof. Turns out that's a thing now, licking ice cream in the store. How is Haagen-Dazs? Oh, because it has like the foil seal.
Yeah. Because think about ice
Wouldn't you
cream that
notice
doesn't
tongue
have that.
marks?
Huh?
Wouldn't you notice tongue marks in but I guess if they licked it lightly, I mean, you could like put your butt cheeks in it too. I don't know. Like, you know,
Remember when the kids
funny
were doing that with the phones and they were like going to the grocery store and like somebody would like they were doing stuff like that and licking the ice cream and then putting it back. And it's like,
oh no.
oh my God. Or people just doing
But
stuff like that in general at the grocery store. I mean, that's
yeah,
the thing with
yeah.
something like Tylenol murders, like Excedrin murders or things like that. It's like people don't realize that, like, I mean, when you look at the different things of like people doing stuff on social media, eating the Tide Pods, licking the ice cream, all this, they don't realize that it's like, dude, like this is people have already done this, and this is why you can go to jail for a very long time over this. You know what I'm
Crazy.
saying?
It's crazy. But think about it like I bought ice cream the other day. I brought it home. I put the top off of it and the ice cream is right there. Never in a million years would it have crossed my mind that somebody could have licked it. But here's the other thing. Back in the day, you would buy Tylenol, or any sort of, aspirin, whatever, any sort of pain reliever. The hardest part was like getting the cotton out of the bottle or getting like that little pop top to pop off. Now there's like the box is sealed, the thing is sealed, everything is, and now each individual caplet is sealed. Everything is sealed
100%.
within an inch of his life. And it always makes me wonder, what are the things that we're doing now that we think of as being no big deal? Don't think a thing about it. And years from now, our kids will be like, you did what? You know?
Well, where is Jenny says, let me scroll back up real quick, because I
Let
was
me see
like,
if I
this
can
is
find
one of the things where I think people will be like, y'all still had those? Jenny says, I'm disgusted. I saw a guy trying soup from the buffet in Whole Foods. I almost vomited. Okay, two things here. Number one, with a whole mushroom poisoning trial going on and like that whole thing about food poisoning, the latest time that I associate with whatever, and I think I even talked about this, whether it's here, I know it was on a live chat at one point. I was at the grocery store and it was kind of a cold day and they had this
Mhm.
chili and I was like, Paul, don't do it. Don't, from the hot buffet thing, with the salad bar. I was like, Paul, don't do it. And I was like, oh, that would be so good for lunch. And so I got the chili, which,
Uh-huh.
whatever. I'm talking, oh, I was sick for like, about 24 hours, but it was horrible. And so I was like, never,
Oh my
no.
God.
I've seen so many salad bar things, but I'll still go to the salad bar from time to time, not that often. I usually get the
Listen,
pre-made ones. But I think
I,
salad bars in the grocery stores are going to be a thing at a certain point where people are like, yeah, we can't
yeah.
have nice things anymore. We can't do that anymore, people.
I remember when they had when they first put the glass, like you would go to Ponderosa or one of these like all you can eat salad bar places, and it would have glass over it. And I was like, first of all, I was a little kid, so my face was underneath the glass. And I was like, what is the glass for? My mother would go, oh, sneeze guard. And I was like, people are over, and if a little kid sneezes, that glass is not going to protect anything because it's just going to go straight across. Or here's the one that has always driven me crazy: people blowing out birthday candles. I cannot, particularly little kids blowing out birthday candles, to me is the most disgusting thing in the world. I have Particularly if it's a large number of birthday, like if it's a baby and their parents give like one little puff of air and they blow out one, I can almost tolerate that. But for my children, for as far back as I can remember, I get the number candle, whatever their age is, because you get one puff and you're not spitting all over this cake and then I'm supposed to eat a slice of it. No, thank you. I,
Certainly don't bring those trick candles into Kathy's house.
No, no. I have always thought blowing out birthday candles was the most disgusting thing. I'm just like, nah, 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 nah. I don't know about your level of cleanliness. I don't know how you keep your house. It better not. I'm not eating your homemade cake. I want it hermetically sealed from the supermarket or the bakery. I'm like, no, no. Oh, Judy has a good idea. Give one kid a cupcake. Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
give the kid a cupcake with one candle. Perfect. Perfect. Or
So
individual servings.
I have I don't know what you would call it, a potluck store. I don't know what you want to call it, but, and I'm going to just use person A and person B because I always get so scared that somebody might like, listen, I would never want to hurt somebody's feelings, even though I seriously doubt
Text me the
that.
names. Text me
Yeah.
the names.
So a place I used to work at, one of my people was, just major. She didn't like, don't be talking about bringing food to work or giving it to her, like what, like not into that.
Mm-hmm.
But this other person that was working there, which I think there was probably something going on with person. We'll call person A is that I don't like home cooked food from other people. Person B
Mm-hmm.
is the whatever. So I think there was maybe something going on with memory and things like that, whatever. So we were standing there and person B one day was like, oh, person A, I was in my garden and working and I brought you something. She pulls out, bless her heart, a plastic container with like, I guess she had made like a little maybe salad or some, I don't know what it was, but it had from her purse like the hairball from your comb or something stuck to it. And so I was looking at person A, she was being nice. And she's like, oh, thank you. The whole thing was A. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know she is dying inside right now, but she's being super nice and like, oh, thank you. I'm going to put it in here right now. I was screaming. I was like, I know she's not going to recover. She is not going to recover from this.
Nope.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, bless her heart. Bless her. I mean, she meant well, but it was just like the whole scenario. I was like, yes, she's probably not going to eat out for a week after this. Like, this is going to do her in. Yeah, a Crunchy Frog says, you don't know who lets their cats walk in the kitchen. Cat. I mean, that's, yeah.
Yes.
And for the Tylenol murder thing, like whether they're, yeah, it's like whether you're dealing with somebody who wants to get back at people or just sloppy, whatever, you just never know. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, your coworkers are trying to kill you, but you just don't know. And everybody has a different version of what is sanitary and clean to them. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone's different. Just like you said, I don't want somebody blowing out the cake, whatever. Somebody else might be like, oh, what? Huh? Oh no. Well, yeah, I blew this off to cool it down for you. Here you go. Don't give it.
Even when I was a kid, my mother would lick her thumb and like get. I was like, I need a whole shower now. Like that was my mother, the woman who gave birth to me. I didn't want mama spit on me. I certainly don't want any. I don't want your cakes. I don't want your homemade food. But here's the thing: I'm from Indiana, where like church, Girl Scouts, whatever it was, there was always a potluck. Family gatherings, always, always, always a potluck. Now. We had a couple of relatives who shall remain nameless, and I know some of my relatives know about this YouTube channel, so I'm gonna watch my lips. Hang on, my child is Daisy is just barking in my room. Okay, I was like, where are these dogs? Why am I hearing distant dog noises? Anyway, I have one particular relation who's not necessarily a very good cook, and so my aunties and them. They've been known to gossip a little bit. Now, these women won't talk about you behind your back. They will, however, talk about you to your face in very, very ugly ways. Very ugly ways. So if you were going to bring the dish, they would be like, oh, this is wonderful. Thanksgiving. Who made the turkey? Who made the turkey? Oh, so-and-so's second wife. I'm gonna skip turkey this year. Is there some ham? Like it was always a thing about who made the dish, right? Church, whatever it was. So when I moved to the East Coast, I thought potlucks were things everybody did. So my first job, was a birthday, Christmas, whatever, some event. And I was like, oh, are we having a potluck? And people looked at me like I had 3 heads. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll have they agreed to ultimately have a potluck. Everybody went to the local deli. And this one got, bagels. That one got cream. It was all packaged foods because people were like, you don't know what is happening in somebody else's house. I'm not eating packaged foods. And then one girl, Sheila, who I will name Sheila Thompson, was like, from Brooklyn, was like, oh, we should put some X-Lax in these brownies. I was like, see, I don't know that she ever did, but she joked about it. And I was like, this is the reason that people don't want to have potlucks. It's like,
100%. 100.
You don't know what's in somebody else's head.
Oh, yeah.
And to the point that like one of the ladies who lived out like way, way out in Long Island or someplace brought in fresh tomatoes from her garden. And one of the ladies from accounting was looking at her. She was just like, who brought that in? Who brought that in? And I was like, they're tomatoes from, like, you can't mess up tomatoes from somebody's garden, right? And so somebody gave Rosa these tomatoes. I haven't worked with these people in 30 years. They might all be dead now. I don't know. Somebody gave Rosa tomatoes and she was like, okay, thank you. And at the end of the day, she just dropped them right in the trash can. She's like, I don't know where them tomatoes been. Like, these are fresh tomatoes from somebody's garden. She was like, nope, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. So
yeah,
you never know.
You never know. You never know. And
people got trust issues.
But I mean, for that reason, now you were talking about before we got on here, and I have not watched it yet. But pardon me, the Excedrin murders. I didn't look into. I didn't know that there was like a category for each. We got the Tylenol, Excedrin,
each pain reliever. Let me look at the year.
Reliever.
The Excedrin murders. Okay, so the Excedrin murders happened in 86. Um,
Really? So like
Also
almost
in
like
the Chicago suburbs, like it was a few years later. The difference with the Excedrin murders, though, was that I believe from I saw the documentary. It wasn't even a documentary. It was one episode of like 48 Hours or one of those shows. Somebody sent it to me. And I think Shayna sent it to me, Shayna Hirsch, where there was a lady who is currently in prison for having unfortunately unalived her husband with cyanide lace Excedrin. And I was just like, ruh-roh. And I think this lady, now, did she do it? Did she not do it? I don't know. According to her, she didn't do anything. And I was like, okay, girl, wait. Somebody said they used to eat Excedrin? Sandy Barker, I used to eat Excedrin. Weren't they bitter? I have so many questions. I have so many questions about eating Excedrin. But this lady, her husband died, and she was like, "Oh, this is terrible," and they ruled it as natural causes. She kept pushing and pushing and pushing for them to further investigate. Only when they discovered that he had actually been poisoned, she was charged with the poisoning because inside the capsule they found they looked at the poison in the house and they found poison inside the pill. They had found poison and some sort of like green flakes. They looked at the green flakes and it was algae killer. And they were like, oh, whoever poisoned these tablets has fish. And the lady was like, what was her name? Stella Nickel. Stella Nickel was like, I don't have fish. I couldn't have been me. But the guy down at the local pet store was like, oh, I remember very clearly selling Stella Nickel algae killer for her fish tank. I don't know if she had a fish tank or a pond or whatever, but this guy testified, yes, she bought algae killer. And so she was convicted of killing her husband. And so she's sentenced to basically life in prison. Her whole motivation was that if he died by natural causes, she got one amount of insurance money, but if it was turned out to be an accident, she would get, extra money for like double indemnity or whatever. And she screwed herself if she killed him. But I don't think there were any other Excedrin murders aside from that one. So part of me is like, ooh, a copycat. Man, that's
yeah,
not what you want to copy.
that one to me seems like pardon me, like so specific and targeted. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like 100%. Like I can see where she was like, hold on now. I think I can pull this off. The time is
Yeah.
right, the temperature's good. We've got the Tylenol thing, in the rear view mirror. Let's fire this
Yep.
back up. Now, Deb mentioned the Visine murders
Oh, that
a
was
few things.
recently.
Yeah, and I can't remember. I
Right.
feel like I can't remember what those were. Hold on, Visine.
Yeah, there was a
Because I
lady,
remember
she
hearing
was
about it.
Jenny Price says Visine and ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol is um coolant. It's something you put in the not is it coolant? It's something you put in the car. Antifreeze.
Yeah.
Remember how that was a trend for a while. The thing with ethylene glycol is that apparently it tastes sweet, so you could put it in a sweet drink and people won't notice. But there was recently a case, maybe 6 months ago, where a woman was caring for an elderly person and they kept putting Visine in their food and ultimately poisoned this elderly person. It was with a financial motive. I don't know, excuse me, what all the financial motive was, but it wasn't even a relative. It was her carer. It was her, like, her home health aide or something like that. And the woman was like, I don't, maybe it was she unfortunately unalived herself, I don't know.
That's
But
crazy.
how is Visine still on the market? If it's how is antifreeze not, you know what I mean? It's like so
Yeah.
many things get regulated. Yeah. If I want to buy allergy tablets, I have to like take the card, go to the pharmacy, wait in line, wait for, so that people don't make meth or whatever out of it. But Visine is just sitting right there, shelves and shelves of it.
I, I know. There is this so I used to work for this, or do work, so I work, whatever you want to call it, for an estate sale company. And I've kind of told this story before, whatever, but we did this one time where the lady, had passed or whatever, and it was a townhome situation. And basically, pardon me, she what was it? Her neighbor who like looked after her some. So it wasn't like a full caregiver situation, but the lady was and I don't know, she had some stuff going on, right? Where she just, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
she had died and the neighbor basically found her but didn't report her. And then was like took some stuff from her house, like a gun, was writing check. Like this lady would have like $10,000 in this bookcase, $5,000 hidden in this pot pan, like crazy stuff all over her house,
Wow.
whatever. And so she didn't report the death and was like writing checks and like doing stuff, like almost like keeping the thing going. Well, obviously she got caught. She lived like 2 doors down. So when
Yeah.
we went, they were like, whoever it was that was dealing with the owners of the company was like, look, if the neighbor comes over, whatever, there's no contact. She's out on probation. This case is open and looming. And I'm like, oh my God, like people would like crazy stuff. So she didn't kill her, but she was just
Crazy.
kind of
But
like,
when she died, yeah.
she was just like, oh, here's an opportunity. We're going
Right.
to, whatever.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I mean, hold
Oh,
on, let me
there's slow-mo. We were just talking about slow-mo, who's not
slow-mo.
slow-mo.
Slow-mo, how's it going? I like your song for
Hey.
Kathy.
It's awesome. Can I tell you, every couple of years, there's a weekend at Bernie's style situation in New York City. Not every summer, but every few summers. Recently, it happened where an old guy died, and his 2 old friends were like, yeah, he's dead, but his social security check just arrived here in the mail, and they wanted to get it cashed. And so they propped up his dead body in an office chair and were wheeling him down the street like belted to an office chair with sunglasses on to the check cashing place, and they caught it on video with these 2 guys trying to get this dead body into the check cashing place to cash a check. It's like, but I feel like that happens all the time. My question is, how often is it not caught, right? Like with direct deposit and stuff, somebody
Yeah,
could be dead. Lori Bello, her kids were gone, 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 and buried for however many months, and she never reported them missing.
yeah. She was just sitting there getting that money. Yeah, oh, I think it goes
Mhm.
on a lot. Like, I mean, and I can't think of specifics or whatever, but yeah, oh yeah, Ohio Palm Mom, the woman in Brazil, that one was next
Yes.
level Ohio Palm Mom,
Yep. She took the
100%.
guy into the bank and was trying to. She was like a hand puppet, glasses on him, trying to work his hand like he's
That
really
one, I was
signing.
like, girl, he has been dead. Okay. Like, you didn't even think to maybe put a hat on him or like something. Like, this is crazy. She
My
was
God. And
like,
it was her uncle. It was her. Yes. Wait, wait, wait. This is going so fast. Somebody said it. It was her uncle. Wait, there we go. Remember the woman in Brazil who took her dead uncle to get a loan? I mean, listen, if this person is trying to get a loan to give uncle a nice funeral, can at least begin to understand that. But I'm like, you just can't be out here weekend at Bernieing it up with all kinds of random strangers. That's crazy.
no, 100%. Yeah. It's like, but like you said, here's the thing too. So, like, in the day and age that we live in, which, we've sit here and gone from DNA being introduced and all that kind of stuff,
Right,
or
right.
you can just walk into a grocery store and open Tylenol and poison somebody, to everything's being surveilled, DNA, we
Yes.
can trace it, whatever. But even on that case, there's still things like that. So think about how many people might have somebody that they're a caretaker for, or some situation, and they're doing
Mm-hmm.
that and they're relying upon that money. And so it's
Yep.
like, that person dies and it's like, oh,
Like
what I haven't
the
planned for
gravy
that.
train has stopped. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, what do I do? And
Mm-hmm.
so they just kind of keep it going for a minute, and it usually is kind of, well, this isn't going to end well, obviously. Um,
It's
I
so
mean, yeah, I'm sure
nuts.
that goes on a lot.
I mean, I appreciate the creativity, honestly, but it's like between Ring doorbell cameras and I mean, so some of it is like you can't weekend at Bernie style a guy down the street in a chair. I mean, I guess you could theoretically, but like the bank is going to have a surveillance camera. There's license plate readers. Your smartphone is telling on you. Like you're Googling how long until rigor mortis sets in. Whatever it is. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's harder to get away with crime, but maybe it's just harder to get away with face-to-face crime. I'm not even sure. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then too, it's like you don't know how other countries are. You know what I'm saying? Like across the board, like whatever. Like, so has her dead uncle there. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. She was very Weekend at Bernie. She wheeled her
Yeah.
dead uncle into the bank, and they were asking him questions, and she's like, "He's hard of hearing," and she was leaning over, pretending like she was whispering in his ear, like it was very ventriloquist, like trying to play like she's the voice. And I just remember him having to sign something, and her lifting his hand and trying to get him to like grip the pencil and sign, or the pen and sign. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Also, hilarious. I know you're not supposed to laugh at stuff like that. It's evil. It's wrong. It's bad
Okay, wait now.
karma.
Hold on. Somebody said, let me see if I can find it. Okay, Diva says, what about the finger in the Wendy's chili that time? Who remembers that? I remember something about that. Okay, here's the thing too with I can remember the I don't know what you would call it, like not the birth of, but like the beginnings in my memory of people pulling stuff like there was a roach in my burger, there was a this or a finger in my whatever the case is, right? Not saying
Right,
it's not
right.
true, because you do like when you sit here and think about it, like how does food not get into or like bugs get into stuff or things like that. Now I want to Google the Wendy's thing because I remember that. Let's see,
Yes, I remember that too.
finger and Wendy's.
Um,
I can't believe these
uh,
Google searches. Wait, woman says she found a finger in Wendy's chili, the headline from early 2005. See, now this is like every other day though. Now that we have things like TikTok, like this kind of is like this
yeah,
made like, oh my gosh, she came clean. I'm like, this is just stuff you're scrolling like, during the morning bathroom visit, right? Oh, there's finger in Wendy's. Okay, there's there's roaches
that's
on
just the
this.
average Tuesday. That's just the average Tuesday.
Okay. It's like you just okay. Do you remember this? Okay. Do you remember, and I don't know what you call it, but there's this whole thing where you could, I said this in the video I made about this, where you could open a Coke, I think it was Coke, and a dollar bill
Mhm.
would come up. It was like like a thing that was like, shh, like your
Oh, I
fries
feel like
came
I
up.
remember that. I was gonna say it was like it was a promotion that they were doing or something, right?
Something like that. But there was some scandal that went down with it. And I don't know if the person drank the Coke and then got sick from the chemical. It was something like that. But then there's another thing too about somebody talking about I found something in my Coke can, and then whatever it was, and then the soft drink people came out and they were like, no, there's like no, the cans aren't open enough for anything to like get into them. Like it's this
Right.
whole thing. But then the damage was done because you're just like, I mean, yeah, there has to be a roach in there. Like, how wouldn't there be like in this big factory? Like, of course, when we go, because I mean, I had a friend one time who, now the granted, he had been drinking his whatever outside. He took a sip off his soda, and there a lizard, a gecko, this is down in Florida, had gotten into it, and he gulps the thing, it spits it out, and I'm like, never again. No,
You're like, I'm off
no.
soda forever now. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
It
That's
was
kind of
horrible.
crazy. This is why I eat at home. This is why I eat at home. I mix myself up a nice cup of Crystal Light. Who knows what's in it? Listen, I might be poisoning myself by the day, but it is delicious. It quenches my thirst, and I can look at it real hard. Now, if somebody puts some antifreeze in it, okay, please blame Mr. Gossip. Don't let him collect all my insurance money. I'm just letting you know right now.
Okay, and yeah, I can't
It's
remember who
crazy.
said it. Somebody just said, wasn't it a mouse in the Coke? Thank you for that. And Kentucky Fried Mouse, that is so good, Jen.
I remember there being a chicken foot, like seeing a picture of it was Kentucky Fried Chicken or one of these places but you have to imagine that in some of these food processing plants, if things are going very quickly, yeah, there's going to be like a foot gets, what was it? It must have been KFC because I remember people joking about like maybe that was one of the 7 herbs and spices or 11 herbs and spices, whatever it is. You're going to get a foot from time to time. It's
it
just the
just
cost of
is
doing
what it
business. Eat at
is.
home. Eat at home. Eat at home like you have some calming down. I mean, listen, we all know that hot dogs are just, lips and buttholes of chickens and pigs and cows and whatever. You roll the dice. You walk out your door, you roll the dice. That's it.
This over here, let me pause it. The headline is, because I just Googled this,
Mhm.
Coca-Cola, this is from 2017. Coca-Cola disputes man's claim he found mouse in can because it wasn't decomposed. And he is suing Coke, or was, because he missed 60 hours of work and accumulated $1,000 in medical bills after becoming ill. Now, the Atlanta
So
company said during a motions hearing he anticipated testimony from a veterinary pathologist who will analyze the mouse's decomposition. I mean, well, we need to know, did he get something? I mean, $1,000? It's like you're going through all this. He's like, look, I just
at
want
least get
$1,000.
$100,000, like $1,000.
The mouse found
Mm-mm.
it. Is it?
No, sir.
But
But I
publicly
had
traded
heard
food,
that,
not
like, if you get like organic vegetables and things like that, like from the supermarket, that they're more likely to have bugs or pests or whatever in them because, because they're organic, because there's not like pesticides. I don't know how that works. I stay away from nature. Nature's out here trying to kill me. I am literally allergic to every single thing that's outside.
oh,
Like, it's
really?
just right now, just this evening, that my eyes stopped being inflamed because I'm allergic to everything. I had like eczema right here on my neck. I was like, it looked like something like and tried to off me, but it just was eczema. And then on my eyelids, I walked outside in my backyard and I was like, nature, it's trying to get me. I'm not out. I am inside the house the way the Lord intended. People are out here camping and stuff. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm homeless. No, thank you. God bless all the nature people. Please go enjoy it. Don't even send me pictures. I don't need to know nothing about that.
How hot is it up there and where you're at right now?
Well, we've cooled down to 98 right now. It is 7 p.m. in the evening and it is 98 degrees. Yeah, it was a little toasty today. For the last few
It's like
days, we've had
so hot in like Manhattan, like in the buildings and everything like that. Oh my gosh.
And
Oh,
Manhattan has the heat island effect. Let me put you up on game. So, first of all the rich people leave the island of Manhattan as soon as school is out. You go to your other house in the Hamptons, up on Cape Cod, wherever. So it's filled with like well cooked poor people and regular people like me who are still at home. But the way the heat island effect works is that under the city of Manhattan, there's as much underground as there is up above ground. And all the stuff running underneath the city, the steam pipes, everything else, makes the island hotter and creates a heat buffer over it. So I live 6 miles from Manhattan. So it could be snowing all over this area, and snow will stack up in my backyard, and they will have no snow in Manhattan or very, very little snow, because by the time it gets that far over 6 miles away, the heat radiating off the island will have melted the snow and turned it into rain. So the island of Manhattan is naturally just much hotter. There are fewer trees, there's more concrete, there's more reflective surfaces, which is great in the winter. In the winter, it's like you don't have to get like a heavy coat until maybe January. Where growing up in the Midwest in October, you're like, okay, where's my boots? Here, you're like, oh, I'm going to need a sweater because it's October. I'm going to need my sleeveless vest because it's October. But it's great in the winter. In the summer, however, all of us regular people cook, while
mhm.
those with money are not in the city. In the month of August, the entire city empties out. All the
Right.
therapists go away. People's mental health plummets because it's hard to find mental health services in August in Manhattan because it's well known that all the therapists leave in August, but everybody leaves in August
That's
except for people who work
wild.
for a living. hmm
That's so
So it's hot.
wild.
We're in a 3-day heat wave. The highest day, I believe, was 112, which was 2 days ago. We're going to be back down to the 90s tomorrow, which will be a delightful break. Delightful. I can hardly wait because I'm just sitting in my house with the AC cranked.
I mean, that's so we basically have had the same weather. Like it's been like 100 plus, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm inside right now. I'm not near
Mm-hmm.
anything to show me or whatever. But like yesterday, it was bad. Today, the morning it was more humid today, but with the extreme heat. Erica says we
Yeah.
hit 117 in Arizona.
I just saw that. I'm trying
Absolutely.
to click it.
Mm-mm, can't do that.
Absolutely not. There's no,
Emily says we're
no,
chilly,
no.
88. But see, Emily
Oh,
gets the hardcore. See, I have winter time. So what you're talking about, Kathy, where yeah, it's not really winter here till January. It's like January,
mm-hmm,
February, March is kind of like our true air quote winter. But even then, like
mm-hmm.
our snow, if we get it, I mean, it's a joke, right? You would laugh at like
Right,
what shuts down here for snow or whatever. And I'm cool
right.
with that at this stage in the game because I'm like, yeah, we don't need all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Emily gets I'm always jealous when I talk to Emily of like the temperatures there, but they get that hardcore cold. She'll be like, oh, it's snowing, and I'm like, what? Like we're way past winter time. Like we've moved on, we've digested the winter.
Yes,
That was years ago.
yes, yes,
You
yes.
know.
If we get, if, wait, what? Wanted to catch you before you went to bed for the night. Okay, I am still up, girl. It's only 7 o'clock. Sorry, people are texting. But it's like, we get like winter starts in earnest after Christmas. It's not uncommon for us to not have a white Christmas. If we have a white Christmas, it's weird. But winter catches us after Christmas. And by Easter, it's like, oh, okay, well, that was fun. It's all done and dusted. But when I lived in the Midwest, particularly the upper Midwest in the Chicagoland area, it was from Halloween to Easter. And sometimes at Easter, you're like, this is a cute dress. Where's my boots? You know what I mean? It was a long, hard slog of winter. So I never complain about winter here. And the first year I moved here, I couldn't afford a winter coat. And so I didn't have one. And I was like, oh, the winters are mild here. This is delightful. I just had like a raincoat that had like a zip out lining. So it was like a little bit warmer, but I was totally fine. And then,
Mhm.
the next year it got really cold. And I was like, oh, wow, my mother used to say, "Watch it. God watches out after fools and babies." I moved to New York with no money and couldn't afford a winter coat, so things stayed nice and warm for me. It worked out great.
Now, hold on, where you go? Bigger on the inside just said in the comment section, and bigger if you're still listening, let me know. In the 70s, I drank of a Coca-Cola with a cardboard train ticket in it. Yuck. That to me sounds like kind of what I was talking about, where the thing was it one of those things where you crack the can and like a prize comes up out of the thing or whatever? Because I feel like they got that from somewhere. And I just remember a blip in time of that, and then it went away. And I was like, and I felt like something happened over it because of
That's
that.
wild. That's wild. Did you ever see that HBO documentary McMillions about the
Yes,
that was such a good documentary
that
about
was good.
it was
The
so good.
Monopoly.
It's the
And I always thought
Monopoly.
I had a real good chance at that one. I always thought I had a real
Me
good chance.
too. I just knew. I knew. I was like, I'm this close to being a millionaire. This close. Turns out it's not that easy. Who knew? Who knew? It's
But
crazy.
you got to give it to them. They had that game on lock, right? I mean, they were like,
Years.
but so on that,
Years.
look at that right there, and then apply it to the Tylenol murders, but in an evil, sinister way. You know what I'm saying? Of
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I
Mm-hmm.
just figured out this where I can sit here and do blank. You know,
Yep.
that's why people. It's like there's always something more behind the scenes, especially with corporations and greed and corporate.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like necessarily they start off that way, but something
Right.
happens. It's like, oh, we got to cover this up. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
a thing, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like a situation happens, whether it's a crime, whether it's an accident, whether it's whatever. And they say that like the cover up is worse than the crime. And so, particularly with the Tylenol thing, it's like the cover up was as bad as, especially after we realized, like, oh, wait, even after they said there were no more Tylenol murders, people were still dying. And they were like, oh, homina, homina, homina. It broke my heart at the end of the documentary where that one lady was talking about her mother died from poison Tylenol that she got from the hospital. The mom had come home after childbirth and she had extra strength Tylenol and regular Tylenol. Do they still make regular Tylenol? Wait, I have to ask Uncle Google. Because I was like, right, I totally forgot there used to be regular and extra strength Tylenol. Do they still make
It's like, what's the point of regular?
regular? Yeah, right. Do they still make regular strength Tylenol? Let's see. Yes, regular strength Tylenol is still available. Who is taking it? We are Americans. We want extra strength everything. It contains 350 mgs, milligrams of acetaminophen, and is to be used for minor pain relief. I had no idea. I thought all Tylenol was extra strength Tylenol.
That's so
Okay.
funny how you said that. Like, who's taking it?
We supersize everything in this country. You want a burger? We're gonna give you a burger. You want a soda? We're gonna give you a soda. We don't have little headaches. We have big headaches. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
supersize everything.
Oh my gosh,
Wild.
that was funny. That got me going. I love it.
Well, we're at the 1 hour mark. I want to go buy some regular strength Tylenol in case I get a little one.
And you know what? Actually, I was thinking too, real quick.
Yeah.
Let me look real quick before we go. Hold on. Please. Oh no. Ibuprofen. So that's the next one. We gotta look and see what scandal somebody's pulled with these. I was like, I think I have Excedrin in my thing, but I fluctuate between extra strength Tylenol and ibuprofen.
There's a new tablet out. There have never been any ibuprofen murders. Okay, so now we're all just gonna switch to ibuprofen so we can be safe.
Switch over. We're good there for right now till the secret gets out.
Right? There's some tablet out now that's like half Tylenol and half it's half acetaminophen, half ibuprofen, and it's good for certain sorts of aches and pains. I took one the other day. It was delightful. I don't remember what it was for, though. I was like, oh, this really works. It wasn't a headache. It was like my back or my knee or something like that. But I was like, oh, this is some good stuff. I've discovered secret magical pills.
You know what just threw me? So I've been sitting here and I have, what do you call this? StreamYards, like on this screen. Then I have my personal chat pulled up over here. So when I see the thing, this screen's kind of weird. So when I see the comment, I'm like, oh, let me come over here to where I can read it better. And I'm like, I know I just saw them say that. Where did it go? And I'm like, oh, it's in your chat room. So then I'm like, over here, that just now this entire time hit me.
You're like, what is happening?
I know, I'm like, oh, wait, it's two things, but I can see it all in the main. I mean, you can't take me anywhere.
What you smoking over there? What are you smoking over there, Paul? I'm worried.
I was like, let me go pause their comment. I'm like, where'd it go? Hold on now.
That's so funny.
Lord,
wait, prescription? I don't even know what this is. Prescription Keterlac? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Okay, people just out here making up drugs. I don't. Listen,
and then we got
all of my
we got to see somebody's killed somebody with it.
Yeah, right. All of my friends are like, no, all you need is the homeopathic, get the essential oils and whatever. I want all the chemicals. Give me every single chemical. Like when I was having babies, people were like, you want to do all natural and you're just going to breathe. I was like, no, I want them to give me, an epidural. I told my husband, when I'm in labor, if I ask you for a crack rock, you better go out in these streets and get me crack. Like, I want all the drugs.
A big one.
I'm getting my teeth cleaned on Thursday, and I'm like, can you sedate me? I think I just need to be sedated. The dentist was like, calm down, girl.
He's settled down.
I'm just saying.
Toradol.
It's Toradol. I don't know what Toradol does, but yes, please, I'll take some. If it takes away pain, what takes away eyelid eczema? I need some of that. I have some MG217 on there right now, but if there's a chemical that'll do it, I will put the chemical right directly in my eyes. I'm that girl. Give me all the medicine, all of it.
Amen.
Look, Slow-mo's laughing at the crack rock.
Because I can hear the people are getting ready to fire up the vacuums here.
Ruh-roh. All right.
Ruh-roh.
Let me hang on. The 1 minute outro is set to play. Okay.
Oh, we gotta get a hit song.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks for
me.
having
Thank
me.
you,
Thanks,
everybody, for chatting
everybody.
about the Tylenol murders and other disgusting, unfortunate unalivings.
Dear true crime friends, we clutch our pearls and laugh again. We all gather around. Kathy has a story to tell, our favorite comedian. Heifer, please, I don't have the free time unless you got the scoop again. Here for the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I will live for today until the endless heaven buffet takes me away. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. The world is filled with chaos muppets that like people to kick the bucket from Idaho, Iowa, and everywhere in between. Heifer, please, boncation in the first degree. Heifer, please, come solve the case with me. Here for the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I will live for today until the endless heaven buffet takes me away. Yeah.
Come here, not Spike. Come here, bye, not Spike.